The Prince of All Saiyans wasn't always the good-hearted but stern, immensely powerful warrior we know today. Formerly one of Frieza's henchmen until he decided to coup against him during the Namek saga, when Vegeta met Goku, he obtained a lifelong rival that seemed to excel at everything, always leaving Vegeta in the shadow. Goku, after all this time, I would say, is definitely looked at as the most gifted fighter in Dragon Ball, but right behind him is none other than Vegeta, who seemed to get all of his results through the sheer will to not fall behind. This of course isn't to insinuate that Vegeta isn't a gifted fighter in his own right, because he obviously is. So much so in fact, that his talent doesn't allow Goku to overshadow him by leaps and bounds anymore. While Vegeta doesn't have and shows almost no interest in ever wanting to learn Ultra Instinct, his own potential within him has been overwhelming from the start, even if it seemed to lag behind Goku, but something has always been there with him. The former Angel of Universe 13, Myrno, has emerged from hiding after eons of planning his revenge against Zeno and the Grand Priest, but along the way, he seems to have taken a specific interest in Vegeta especially. While things haven't gotten quite out of hand yet, the absence of Goku has put a looming sense of dread over everyone after he was ported to an unknown dimension by the Angel. An act of desperation later called for all of the remaining Z-Fighters to conduct their final trump card in an effort to assist Vegeta in the battle by allowing Majin Buu to absorb each and every one of them, forming the ultimate Majin Z-Fighter. At first, this newly powered up Super Buu consisting of not only Gohan, Piccolo, and Tien, but the androids Master Roshi and more seemed to fare well against the Angel, even garnering praise from him, although it was quickly apparent that no matter how they went about it, Myrno was just far too strong. With the intelligence of Piccolo and the others on their side, Super Buu was able to eventually land a candy beam on the Angel and turn him into chocolate. However, even this wasn't what it seemed, as he escaped without them ever noticing or seeing a thing. When he returns to the battlefield, Myrno is seconds away from destroying Buu indefinitely, only to be interrupted by none other than Golden Frieza, whom he thought he'd killed much earlier. 3-on-1 as it may be, Myrno still finds no reason to worry, as he tells them that they're still many lifetimes too early to think about defeating him. Still, he will commend them on their impressive power for mortals. However, at this point, not one of his brothers or sisters, none of the gods, and especially none of them can hope to stand up to him. The only one that could defeat him as it stands now would be the Grand Priest himself, but with such a keen eye for Vegeta, Myrno comes up with a better plan. In an effort to finish his little game as well as push Vegeta to his absolute limits, Myrno declares that if he were to fall at the hand of Vegeta, then this would be an acceptable way to be defeated. And now, with the help of Super Buu and Golden Frieza, Vegeta is put to the ultimate test to be the first Saiyan ever to slay an angel. If you guys are loving Dragon Ball Super Kai and want to check it out for yourselves, the link as always will be down below in the description box. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that notification bell down below to never miss an upload, and if you are enjoying the Universe 13 saga as well as all of the other Dragon Ball content we upload, consider leaving a like on this video as well. Lastly, don't forget to follow on both Twitch and Twitter to stay up with me and all anime related content, but without further ado. The Universe 13 saga has been quite a roller coaster, but the one thing that has been consistent thus far is Myrno's complete control over the situation. Having revealed some of his abilities such as portal manipulation and cloning himself, Myrno stands before his 3 opponents as he removes his cloak. "Now then, Majin," he says, "I believe we have some unfinished business," as he throws his cape to the ground. "I warn you now, Angel, I'm only just getting started," Buu says, "so don't get too cocky. Let's see if you're ready for this." "Neo Wolfang Fist," he cries out, as Majin Buu takes a page out of Yamcha's book, who now resides within him as well, and charges at the Angel. "Well now, this should be fun, and that name sounds pretty awesome too," the Angel says as he barely moves, deflecting all of Buu's attacks. As the two clash, we take a moment to pan over to Frieza, who's spectating the battle, seething with rage over past events. "They've only just begun and I've already grown sick of them," Frieza says as he lifts his finger into the air. "The game is over for the lot of you now." Overhead, Frieza prepares a gigantic supernova death ball as he cries out, "Angel or Majin, it makes no difference to me. I've grown very impatient of being made a fool of, so now you're all dead. I hope you're ready," he says. The battle between Myrno and Buu comes to a brief pause as the Angel points above them and tells Buu that he may want to turn around because his friend looks a bit angry. Buu turns around with a pale face, almost as if he's seen a ghost, as he shrieks, "Frieza, what are you doing? Are you completely out of your mind? Don't you dare launch that attack." It's far too late for negotiations, however. Not that Frieza would ever listen anyway, as he launches the attack directly down onto the earth below, completely obliterating Majin Buu and presumably Murno, as Buu curses Frieza for being so reckless. Luckily for Buu, his regeneration abilities are far superior to those akin to it, so he's able to piece himself back together fairly quickly. However, not without being completely infuriated with Frieza. "You moron," he says after rejoining the fight. "Have you lost your mind? Why are you attacking your one ally in this battle?" he questions him, reminding Frieza that whatever grudges he has with them doesn't matter right now. Their goal is to beat Murno, and that won't happen like this, to which Frieza simply replies, "Whoops, guess my finger slipped." "Look," he says, "I know who my enemy is and I know why I came here, but you were in my way, so I suppose that would just make you collateral damage, and besides, you can regenerate yourself, so what's the problem?" As Frieza begins to fly off, he warns Majin Buu that he doesn't care what happens to them. If they're going to become a burden to him, then they're better off just getting lost now or risk being killed again, as he goes off to engage Murno himself, leaving Buu seething with rage. Frieza clashes with the Angel finally as he sets his revenge in motion for that humiliation he suffered in space at the beginning of the story, but Murno isn't impressed. "This is becoming very repetitive," he says, "all of you fighting one by one with no hope of besting me. Shouldn't you be fighting together? That would be better for both sides." "I'd rather die," Frieza says. "I am more than enough by myself to defeat you, so I suggest that you focus on me and don't worry about them." But as he says this, a large amount of concentrated ki is felt above them as they all look to see Majin Buu preparing an attack directly overhead. "Let's see you try and survive this," Buu screams, as once again he borrows a page from the Z-Fighter's book, this time Tien, firing a Neo Tri-Beam, but his target isn't really what you'd expect. Majin Buu's attack hammers down on Frieza and Frieza alone as he yells, "You idiot! That attack is headed straight for me," with Murno watching in confusion nearby as Frieza is pummeled by the Tri-Beams. Frieza reveals himself from the smoke and debris before long, extremely injured from that last attack, as he curses Buu for completely missing and purposefully hitting him. Buu descends to him as he warns Frieza that he should tread more carefully next time in his actions. He says that he'll restore him this one time, but if he pulls another one of his stunts again, then Buu won't hesitate to destroy him before dealing with Murno, as he raises his hand to Frieza and then fully restores his health. "Now, like I said," Buu continues, "make sure not to get caught in any more of my attacks, and in the meantime either assist us or stay out of the way. This is the only time I will tell you this, Frieza," and then he flies off back to the battlefield. Frieza boils with rage after being scolded like a child by Majin Buu as he swears to annihilate them the first chance he gets. "Now then," Murno says as we cut back to he and Vegeta, who's fighting the other clone of the Angel. "I've waited long enough, Vegeta. It's time for you to show me what you've trained for. I expect nothing but your best because I won't be holding back this time," he says. "Now let's begin." "I will admit, however," he starts off by saying, "that I do look forward to seeing what my father has been able to teach you, Vegeta. For a mortal such as yourself to have gained his respect is extremely rare, so this just confirms my suspicions of how special you are. However, I still want to see the full extent of your potential." "Is that so?" Vegeta says. "You know, I find it funny that for a being who sits at the highest position, such as yourself, you sure do have a rebellious nature and don't seem to be as neutral as told." This is when Murno, however, goes on to educate Vegeta that all beings, no matter who or what they are, have a nature of rebellion within them, especially if they feel like they've been wronged and are changed by those actions. "Which reminds me," he goes on, "have you ever even respected your own father, the king, before he died? I take it you didn't, but why would you? See, it's interesting to me that in this universe, he died by someone else's hand, because in my native universe, Universe 13, Vegeta, you were the one that killed your parents, and you did so for your own selfish reasons. You murdered them to prove your superiority over your people, and I take it that you probably would have done the same here, had things worked out differently. This is what makes you different, Vegeta," he says, as Vegeta, who still hasn't said a word, looks sternly as Murno speaks. "This is what I like about you. You will do absolutely whatever it takes to get stronger. It's the quality I admire most about you because it's as I said before, you are the perfect warrior. Your judgment of reality is flawed though. Not many are willing to throw everything away to get ahead, but in this case, you have absolutely no chance against me, which is why you should remember the risk involved. So, again Vegeta, do you accept my test?" It's been a few minutes since the Grand Priest and Whis were transported away by Myrno, and in this time, we suspect that they've begun making their way back. However, the Angel's patience has run out, so Vegeta must fight now, and the only way to survive this encounter is to be the first to defeat an Angel. While Myrno has accepted that if Vegeta is the one to defeat him, then he would be satisfied with the outcome, the only thing Vegeta really has to believe in right now is the dream of becoming the first Saiyan ever to kill an Angel, using whatever techniques and powers he's awakened while training with the father of the Angels himself, the Grand Priest.